CTV Calgary, local breaking news with Tara Nelson.
Hello and thank you for joining us. Despite a lack of pipelines, Alberta's Premier is in high spirits about a list of potential projects which could be fast-tracked. A day after Danielle Smith met with Mark Carney, she says she feels hopeful about the Prime Minister's plan. Alicia Philberg reports.
Alberta's Premier is boosted by the first batch of proposals for Ottawa's new fast-track approval process.
When I looked at the first 5 projects, I thought, finally they get it, because it's all the projects that have been difficult to build.
Prime Minister Mark Carney's list includes the second phase of LNG Canada in Kitimat, BC, which takes liquefied natural gas piped from Alberta and puts it on tankers to Asia.
It will diversify our trading partners, help meet global demand for secure, low-carbon energy, and support tens of thousands of new high-paying careers.
The proposals will be reviewed by the new Major Projects Office in Calgary, which aims to speed up development of natural interest projects. Several business organizations applaud the list. Environmental groups do not. The provincial opposition also supports the list, but says it doesn't meet Smith's recent demands.
She got 0 of her 9 things, and yet now she's super happy because she's realized that her combative fighting posture has hurt Alberta and it's hurt the Alberta economy. So I'm happy to see she's smiling again.
Carney announced other projects which, with further development, might make the list, including Pathways carbon capture proposed by Alberta's biggest oil sands companies. Smith says her interactions with Carney indicate a shifting government from the Trudeau era.
I think he really understands the issues that we put on the table, and we're working through how to address them.
Political watchers say it points to what might lie ahead.
What that tells me is that behind the scenes, there are negotiations going on with a pipeline company or 2, and some sort of agreement is imminent. And that's why both Carney and Smith are bullish on this.
And Alicia joins us from the Southwest tonight. So Alicia, what's next?
Tara, Premier Smith says they still have some more work to do on the investment climate, but it looks like they might have a couple of months to do that. Prime Minister Carney expects to make the next announcement on major project proposals by the Grey Cup game in November.
Okay, Alicia, thank you. Calgary police have laid charges after a disturbing discovery. They responded to a complaint about a break-in at a Southwest apartment. What they found is evidence that someone had tunneled into the suite from below. A neighbor is now in custody. Jacqueline Wilson reports.
It's a disturbing crime, to say the least.
On September 5th, a woman returned home after being away for a while to find damage and destruction in her apartment.
They had a difficult time getting inside their house because it had been locked from the inside. They were able to make entry inside the premise and then noticed a hole in the wall by the fireplace. Subsequent further investigation by themselves, they noticed another hole leading to the basement suite. And then subject to a police search warrant on the basement suite residence, we found a ladder and another hole leading from that residence up.
The man alleged to be behind the tunnel, 46-year-old Ben Edward Mays. He's been charged with 1 count of break and enter with intent to commit criminal harassment, mischief to property over $5,000, and 2 counts of disobeying a court order. Police say the victim and the accused didn't have a relationship.
Some of the other neighbors had some just unusual dealings with the individual, just that it sparked their concern more around some potential mental health issues.
Mays is in custody and will be in court on Friday. Meanwhile, neighbors are grappling with the reality of what happened.
It's like alarming and shocking, I would say, for sure. Like, it's weird.
Peters was notified by her condo management about a police presence with a message saying in part, quote, "There's no cause for alarm."
So when you figured out what happened, why weren't we notified of something?
Key Condo tells CTV it's working with police and the affected residents.
And Jackie joins us from Coach Hill tonight. Jackie, it sounds like this wasn't the first incident with Ben Mays.
No, Tara. So police say that they have had previous interactions with the accused Ben Mays prior to this incident here at this condo. He has recent charges outside of this one for criminal harassment, and those will actually be heard in court tomorrow. That is along with the charges for this incident here at this condo complex. And police are saying that if anyone knows any more information about Mays or related to this particular incident, they are asked to contact police or they can submit an anonymous tip to Crime Stoppers. Back to you.
Okay, thanks, Jackie. A Calgary man is accused of luring a 12-year-old girl and sexually assaulting her. Calgary police have arrested and charged Jangir Ali Samir. Lethbridge police say in April, a girl was picked up by a man who befriended her online. The 12-year-old was then taken to a short-term rental where she was sexually assaulted repeatedly. Investigators believe there may be additional victims. The 5 players acquitted in the Hockey Canada sexual assault trial can return to the NHL when their suspensions end on December 1st. The league made the announcement this afternoon. Dylan Dubé, Cal Foote, Alex Formanton, Carter Hart, and Michael McLeod were all charged with 1 count of sexual assault and pleaded not guilty when the trial opened in April. The 5 players were acquitted in July after a 2-month trial in London, Ontario. The players are all unrestricted free agents and can sign with the team as of October 15th as they wait for full reinstatement. Alberta's Court of Appeal is reviewing the case involving 2 men serving time for their roles in the Coutts border blockade. Anthony Olenek and Chris Carber were sentenced to 6.5 years for mischief and weapon possession. Olenek was also convicted of possessing a pipe bomb. The jury found them not guilty of conspiring to kill RCMP officers. The men want the appeal court to overturn their convictions or reduce their sentence. Measles cases are on the rise in Alberta again. 21 more cases are confirmed since yesterday. That's the biggest one-day jump since July. 12 of the new cases are in the North Zone, 9 are in the South. The province aims to transition Albertans currently receiving Alberta income for the severely handicapped benefits to a new program, the Alberta Disability Assistance Program. It claims ADAP will create more opportunities and more incentive for recipients to earn income. But Alberta disability advocates warn the program will leave people with less money and greater hardship. Kevin Green reports.
The Alberta government plans to replace AISH with its new Alberta Disability Assistance Program, or ADAP, in 2026. The change lowers monthly benefits by $200 while shifting people into a system the province says will focus more on employment. In a written statement, the province says ADAP will give Albertans with disabilities more opportunity to work while continuing to receive the supports they rely on. The province says it will change the threshold at which earnings are clawed back, allowing recipients to keep more of it. The CEO of Inclusion Alberta says it won't work.
Simply not going to happen. We're not going to generate enough well-paying jobs for people for them to be better off than if they just left AISH alone.
Currently, under AISH, a single person can earn just over $1,000 before clawbacks begin. That threshold drops to $350 under ADAP. For Alex Jack, the benefit reduction will mean cutting back on food.
The first thing to go would be being able to feed myself because grocery prices are expensive.
The government says health benefits will be protected and promises new services like training, case management, and job placements.
They give one example in their materials of a guy working an extra 68 hours a month, but he's only taken home an extra $500.
Critics also warn families will lose spousal and parental income exemptions. AISH eligibility will be narrowed to those deemed permanently unable to work, with others pushed into ADAP.
This ADAP program is going to fail on all the metrics that the government's promised.
The province expects the new system to take effect in the summer of 2026, but says it will top up benefits to current levels until sometime in 2027. Kevin Green, CTV News, Calgary.
Currently, there are about 77,000 Albertans receiving Alberta income for the severely handicapped benefits. A fast-approaching municipal election means Calgary is quickly filling up with signs for candidates vying for your vote. Under city bylaw, the official election period for signs doesn't start until September 22nd, but they can still be displayed on public and private land before then. However, election signs are not allowed on public land near intersections, crosswalks, or driveway crossings. Signs from the same candidate on public boulevards must be separated by at least 20 meters. Election signs cannot be put on street lights or traffic poles, transit signs, or +15 bridges, but election posters are allowed on unpainted streetlight poles, and at least one party is already taking advantage of that.
And so if it is a poster that can wrap around the light post without sticking out, then it can be attached to an unpainted light post. If the light post is painted, so you do see a few in the city that are painted to go with the neighborhood, those you cannot, because you have to use an adhesive that is temporary, so basically clear tape.
Signs must be taken down within 72 hours after the October 20th election. Breaking the rules could result in fines of up to $1,000 per sign. Well, we told you earlier that Danielle Smith is feeling optimistic about Ottawa's focus these days, and that's a real shift in the relationship. Smith is often pushing back against the Liberals, and the leader of the Parti Québécois says he sees some common ground there. Paul Saint-Pierre Plamondon was at the University of Calgary today, telling students that Quebec and Alberta share many frustrations with federal overreach. Here's Mark Villani.
Parti Québécois leader Paul Saint-Pierre Plamondon is leading polls to become the next premier of Quebec. But he's also making a statement to Alberta, hoping to find common ground on his province's potential separation from Canada.
We cannot influence that parliament, and we cannot cope with those policies.
Plamondon sat down for a fireside chat with students at the University of Calgary, promising that if elected, he'd lead a third referendum on Quebec's independence. He cited agreements with Alberta Premier Danielle Smith's demands for more provincial rights and less federal interference.
She played her cards very well. Doesn't mean I agree with Danielle Smith on everything. But the purpose of a parliament is to give a voice and some coherence to your people's will.
Plamondon says French language and culture is being ignored by Ottawa, but he also disagrees with equalization payments, arguing that federal handouts discourage entrepreneurship and that his province would be stronger outside of that program.
Quebec will get back 90 billions every year in money sent to Ottawa. We'll take care of healthcare, and education and social services will be good.
But even deeper to Thursday's discussion was an emphasis on collaboration between differing views on university campuses, both in Quebec and Alberta. Wednesday's fatal shooting of U.S. conservative political activist Charlie Kirk is sparking that dialogue.
We're not here to endorse. We're not here to promote anything other than the ability to talk about things that might be controversial.
And although controversial, Plamondon reiterates any future move towards sovereignty must first come through democracy.
Instead of having a federal government deciding for them on many issues, it would just make sense in light of history, and it would make sense for other regions.
Mark Villani, CTV News, Calgary.
Plamondon has previously said he's confident his party has what it takes to win a referendum if elected. The next Quebec election is scheduled for October 2026. Union members at the Sobeys Rocky View Distribution Centre in Balzac have voted overwhelmingly in favor of strike action. Teamsters Local Union 987 says of the 219 people who voted, 92% voted in favor of a strike. They warn that potential strike action could disrupt delivery of goods to major grocery stores, convenience stores, and independent grocers throughout central and southern Alberta. Workers are seeking more competitive wages and non-monetary changes to their collective agreement. A strike notice could take place as soon as Monday.
You're watching CTV News, Calgary.
Well, we are wringing all the summer out of summer that we can. Danielle joins us now with the forecast.
Why not, right? We're so lucky to be able to do this, considering all of July was rainy and cool. Let's fit in some warmth here. 25 degrees was the high in Calgary today. A normal daytime high for this time of year is 18. So we're above normal. We will be above normal right through the weekend, and even some days next week as well, which I'll show you in just a moment here. Mid-20s for Calgary, Edmonton, Regina, Saskatoon, and then even that corridor, Toronto, Ottawa, and well, almost Montreal anyway. Fredericton also in those mid-20s at 24 degrees. Okay, looking at those next 24 hours, we have better air quality. I'm sure you've noticed it. We've been low to moderate today, but we did reach the low end of that air quality health index, which has been nice. Tomorrow morning, you can expect a couple fog patches. There will be a system that will develop over top of us that could give us a few isolated showers. Smaller chance of that. Some of it, even if it falls at all above us, it will evaporate before it hits the ground for the most part. And then quiet in the afternoon, 24 degrees. So here's a look at satellite and radar, and there is a stateside system. This is going to move up and redevelop here on our side of the Rockies, and it's going to shift up, just like the last system did, actually. And I want to give you the hour by hour here. This is the morning hours for Friday, and you can see the cloud cover will start to increase in the morning. So mainly cloudy skies. And then throughout the morning, there will be isolated pockets of showers in and around the city, just outside of the city as well, as you can see here. Again, a lot of that will evaporate before it even gets to the ground, but we will have the cloud cover, and you may see a little sprinkle in the morning hours, and then it clears out in the afternoon. In the afternoon, though, there will be development in the southern part of the mountains and foothills, and this will track off to the east. Some of these cells may even make their way over to Highway 2. So Nanton and south, don't be surprised closer to the supper hours that you may see a shower or even a non-severe thunderstorm later in the day tomorrow. Okay, and then Saturday, similar idea, similar development in the mountains and in the foothills later in the day, closer to the supper hours that could track off to the east as well. Okay, longer range forecast for the city of Calgary, 24 degrees for tomorrow. That small chance of a little sprinkle, very isolated in the morning hours. Then there will be mainly cloudy skies for the morning and then sunny breaks in the afternoon. Mainly sunny for Saturday and Sunday, and you're looking at those daytime highs in those mid-20s. And by Monday, we have the chance of some showers and even late day thunderstorm activity. Check out Monday, a daytime high of 20. And just to show you that 10-day trend here, 20 for Monday. And then if we look next week, Thursday and Friday, we won't quite make it to that 20 mark, but there will still be some days next week where we'll be in those lower 20s. So we're not done with that just yet. Tara.
Thank you, Danielle. An important Canadian conservation centre has made it through its third successful endangered species breeding season. The Wilder Institute's Archibald Biodiversity Centre is focused on species preservation, and so far its research and work has been incredibly important. Tim Brooke explains.
20 minutes outside of Strathmore sits one of the most important facilities in the province.
We run these programs very quietly out of this very secluded site on purpose because that is the best situation for successful natural breeding.
That's because at the Archibald Biodiversity Centre, population is the entire point.
We are focused here on preserving some of Canada's most endangered species.
In the pond building, 9 around-the-clock staff are able to breed, upkeep, and eventually release hundreds of northern leopard frog tadpoles into natural wetlands.
Our goal is to establish populations at reintroduced sites near Kimberley.
And across the way at the marsh, there's another at-risk species, the incredibly loud whooping crane.
We're super excited this year to have our first 2 fertile eggs that were then hatched out.
It may not sound like much, but consider there were as few as 20 cranes worldwide this century.
The small contributions from breeding facilities actually, when coupled together, make a significant impact to those wild populations and their ability to thrive on the landscape.
The center's burrowing owls sure look happy.
We are only temporarily holding these owls through their first winter until we're able to release them back to the landscape as yearlings.
26 were released last year. Next door, there's Canada's most endangered species. At the Burrow Building, these Vancouver Island marmots recently welcomed in 17 shy new pups. Like the other 4 species, they'll stay inside the temperature-controlled center all year. And then, when it's time...
Diversity is important, and the animals that make up the Canadian landscape are important and play a specific role and have a niche and are contributing ways that we may not even understand yet. And so it's important to conserve those populations.
Tim Brooke, CTV News, Wheatland County.
The Alberta Ballet is taking some of the most beloved fairy tale characters on a new adventure. Once Upon a Time, 1,000 Tales follows the journey of the White Rabbit from Alice in Wonderland, who is in search of Cinderella, all the while encountering characters from Snow White, Aladdin, Sleeping Beauty, and many more. The ballet's artistic director says these enchanting tales are what inspired the music composer's vision for the performance, leaving him with a unique challenge.
And he named the fairy tales of his inspiration, and the problem was how I put all these fairy tales into one story. And then I had the idea to actually rewrite a new storyline with all these fairy tales being the characters of this new story.
It's definitely not something old. It's new and it's exciting and it keeps you on your toes the entire time from start to finish.
Once Upon a Time, 1,000 Tales will be at the Jubilee Auditorium from Thursday through to Saturday, before then heading to Edmonton next week. Thank you for joining us for breaking news anytime. You can count on our website, ctvnews.ca/Calgary.